This is the canceled edition of Taiwan Insider. Now, don't worry, our show hasn't been canceled. This week, we're going to be talking about cancel culture and the effect it's having not only on Taiwan, but also Hong Kong, China, and the United States. I'm Andrew Ryan.
And I'm Natalie So. Before we get to all that, let's take a look first at some of the stories that have been on our radar this week in Taiwan.
In less than a year, Han Kuo-yu has gone from winning Kaohsiung's mayoral election to being picked as the KMT's presidential candidate. Now he's taking 3 months off from his mayoral duties to run for president. Vice President Chen Jianren met with the Pope during a visit to the Vatican, Taiwan's sole diplomatic ally in Europe. His visit comes amid concern that China will continue poaching Taiwan's allies. The Labor Ministry is stepping in after a string of fatal accidents involving food delivery drivers. 2 companies face fines for failing to report the accidents within 8 hours. China says it's finished initial plans for bridges to 2 of Taiwan's outlying island groups, Jinmen and Mazu. Taiwan's Mainland Affairs Council says it's a unilateral decision and part of China's plans to absorb Taiwan. And a story that's gone under the radar this week, a new Taiwanese technology that can determine your brain age. How well is your brain holding up to the ravages of time? Find out in just 30 minutes.
You know, Natalie, that last story is very interesting about brain age.
Yes, I'm curious what my brain age is. How about you?
I don't know if I want to know.
Okay, well, let's get to our word of the week.
Okay.
Are you ready to guess what I'm thinking about our show this week?
I am. What do you have? Barack Obama. Backdoor.
No.
Baccalaureate. Backlane. Backlash.
Yes.
Okay.
We're going to be talking about some backlash against people and organizations that have been appeasing China for commercial interests. This includes NBA star LeBron James and also a very major gaming company called Blizzard. So those are some of our big stories today.
Excellent.
Yes.
You ready for my word?
Yes, I am.
Okay, here we go.
China? No. That'd be too easy,
Good
right?
guess. Yeah, too easy.
Choice?
Yeah, choice. So I'm also interested in talking about the same stories that you're talking about. A lot of people are exercising their freedom of speech, speaking their mind on a lot of different topics about Taiwan, about Hong Kong. And I think a lot of people in the West, like to exercise their freedom of speech, and now they're realizing that they need to make a choice about whether they want to speak their mind or do they want to, worry about the China market and, future opportunities in China.
That's right.
Yeah, faced with a choice.
That's a big choice.
It is a big choice, and a lot of people are being forced to make it. Also, today, let's have a look at this. So this is Yuan Zai, the tuxedo cat. Isn't she cute?
Very cute.
And she watches guard over a train station at a popular scenic destination somewhere in Taiwan. So the question is, where in Taiwan is that? We'll have the answer for you at the end of our show.
So what kind of things are we going to be talking about in this canceled edition of Taiwan Insider? Well, let's start with the NBA. Recently, Houston Rockets general manager Daryl Morey tweeted in favor of freedom for Hong Kong, and that got him, his team, and the NBA in hot water with China. China's state TV canceled broadcasts last week of preseason games.
Then one of the NBA's biggest stars, LeBron James, also weighed in on the situation. He spoke out against the comments by Morey. Now that won him some more fans in China. However, it resulted in him getting canceled by some fans in Hong Kong and elsewhere. Here's what he had to say.
We all talk about this freedom of speech. Yes, we all do have freedom of speech. But at times there are ramifications for the negative that can happen when you're not thinking about others and you're only thinking about yourself. So I don't believe, I don't want to get into a word or sentence feud with Daryl Morey, but I believe he wasn't educated on the situation at hand, and he spoke, and so many people could have been harmed, not only financially but physically, emotionally, spiritually. So just be careful what we tweet and we say and what we do. Even though yes, we do have freedom of speech, but there can be a lot of negative that comes with that too.
Now, here's how fans in Hong Kong responded.
Then Hong Kong people are really suffering right now, and now you come up with speech like that. We are angry. We are very angry with that. And people start burning his jersey. Like I run a social media page. People send me like video. They start burning LeBron jersey just because of his speech. So yeah, that's something what's going on right now.
Now, Chinese state TV canceled NBA broadcasts, but social media giant Tencent began streaming them online again this week. So I think the cancellation of the NBA could be temporary. Now let's move on to another incident. This one involves U.S. lawmakers. One congressman is saying it's visa blackmail, and Taiwan is at the heart of it. More about that on today's Taiwan Explained. In today's Taiwan Explained, I'm going to tell you about a high-profile case of visa blackmail and its connection to Taiwan.
All right, Natalie, you ready?
Yes, I am.
We've got 60 seconds on the clock. Go.
All right. This week, U.S. Representative Sean Patrick Maloney wrote in the Wall Street Journal that Chinese officials told his staff that if he canceled a trip to Taiwan, he would be granted a visa. He called it visa blackmail. That means China would give visas to the delegation only if they cancel their trip to Taiwan. China doesn't like U.S. officials visiting Taiwan because it sees Taiwan as a part of China. Now, this is the first high-profile case of visa blackmail, but it isn't unusual for the U.S. and China to deny visas as a form of punishment. China has denied visas to foreign journalists from these media who have written articles critical of China. 15% of the members of the Foreign Correspondents Club in China have trouble with visa renewal. Just last week, the U.S. announced it will deny visas to Chinese officials involved with human rights abuses in Xinjiang, China. A Reuters report says China is planning to retaliate by denying visas to U.S. citizens with ties to the military, intelligence, and human rights groups.
Very good, Natalie. And that's this week's Taiwan Explained.
This week on Hashtag Taiwan, RTI social media guru Leslie Liao tells us what's trending. Hey, Leslie.
Hi, guys.
Leslie, what do you have for us this week?
Cancellations.
All right,
That's the whole theme,
yep.
right? And I love how you left this for me because you know I'm a huge nerd. Anyway, Hearthstone is a video game created by American company Blizzard. Now, recently there was a Hearthstone tournament. One of the participants, his name was Blitzchung, and he's from Hong Kong. Now, I think a lot of people have already been following this story, but here's a quick recap for you. After Blitzchung won a match, he was interviewed by two Taiwanese hosts. In that interview, he actually yelled out, "Liberate Hong Kong, revolution of our age."
Okay.
Here's that clip right now.
你就讲完那8个字，然后导播我们就结束，我们就什么也都不要聊了。然后你随时可以开始，头先低下来。
光复香港，时代革命。
Now, following this incident, Blizzard banned Blitzchung from participating in any more tournaments for a year, and they took away his prize money.
Wow.
Not only that, but they also fired the two Taiwanese commentators who interviewed him after the match. Now, memes started popping up all over the internet, like here on Reddit. People were saying that Blizzard was trying to appease the Chinese government and that they were looking out for their business interests in China.
That's Xi Jinping there, right?
As
Right there.
Winnie the Pooh.
That's Winnie the Pooh.
That's
okay.
right. And then next up is my Leslie Liao pick of the week. This meme shows Blizzard and the NBA competing, tipping off for that sweet, sweet Chinese money.
But that looks like U.S. dollars.
That does look like US dollars, right? I hope the conversion rate is good. This next meme is the Blizzard logo superimposed on the Chinese flag. Now, if you look in the top left corner, you'll see hashtag boycott Blizzard started trending like crazy. Interestingly, this next one right here, people began using a character from one of Blizzard's other video games as a symbol for the Hong Kong protests. Her name is Mei, and she's the only Chinese character in the video game Overwatch. Now, backlash for Blizzard got so bad that they cut Blizz Chung's ban in half and they restored his prize money. Blizz Chung, he would go on to thank Blizzard for their leniency, but he also urged the company to lighten up on the two commentators that interviewed him. The two commentators here, in fact, they did get their ban shortened to 6 months. However, one already said that he will not be working with Blizzard in the future.
Wow. That's standing up for Hong Kong.
Yeah,
they're Taiwanese too.
And they're both okay. They said they will endure.
Well, I heard a lot of protesters are planning to protest at their upcoming annual conference, BlizzCon, in 2 weeks. So we'll have to see how big this backlash really is.
Americans, so it's not just Hong Kong
people around the world.
But human rights groups are coming together and they're going to lodge an actual protest at that event.
I'm so glad that you brought this up because I know nothing about the gaming world, and it's an important part of the reaction to what's happening in Hong Kong.
I got you. Anything you need, sports, nerd stuff. I'm the correspondent, right?
All right. So that's this week's hashtag Taiwan. Hey, do follow us on social media and leave a comment below. We'd love to hear from you.
All right, this is a brand new segment on Taiwan Insider. It's called Who in Taiwan? It's kind of an experiment trying this out. And as you can guess from the title, we are going to be asking you to guess a person from the news this past week here in Taiwan. Are you guys ready?
We're ready.
All right, now each of them have a buzzer. Natalie, let's see your buzzer. Okay, it sounds like the police are coming. And Leslie? Okay, so what's going to happen is the picture is going to slowly reveal itself on the computer as I give you some clues, and you can play along as well at home. Once you know the answer, buzz in and then tell us who the person is.
We only get one try, right?
You only get one try.
Okay.
So
I keep on guessing people.
No. All right,
once we buzz, we can say it?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, you ready? Ready at home? All right, let's give this a go. All right. Our mystery man was born in 1931 in Ningbo, Zhejiang Province, China. He moved to Hong Kong in 48, then to the US in 49 to attend Harvard. But he graduated from MIT with a bachelor's and master's in mechanical engineering. He worked for Texas Instruments for 25 years. Wow.
Zhang Zhongmo.
Who?
Zhang Zhongmo. Morris Zhang.
That's correct.
Were you saying the same thing?
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, Texas Instruments. That was really
Very good. You both got it so
really
quickly.
obvious.
I'm going to tell you the rest of the clues. Today, he's one of the richest men in Taiwan. He's most famous for the company he founded in 1987, which was
TSMC.
Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Corporation, the biggest chip maker in the world, computer chip maker. Also, he's been Taiwan's APEC representative how many times?
This is the third, right?
That's correct. And that is the news item from this week. He actually, it was announced on Monday, he's going to be representing Taiwan at APEC in Santiago, Chile, November 16th through the 17th. And again, you guessed it correctly. This is Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Corporation. That's right, a tie.
You did all the talking, so.
And that is today's inaugural episode of Who in Taiwan. Up next, Taiwan by number. Sometimes at the end of a long week of heavy news, I like to kick back with a beer in hand. Now in today's Taiwan by number, we will not be drinking beer. However, we will be talking about drinking. Are the two of you ready to guess some numbers related to drinking in Taiwan?
Sure.
Okay, we're going to start off with a very important number. And this is not the number I'm going to ask you to guess, because I think you both know the answer. Do you know what the drinking age is in Taiwan? The legal drinking age?
I think it's 18, right?
18.
Okay, you're both correct. Okay.
We're older than 18, but...
Now, the question I want to start off with today, the real question is, what percentage of all the countries in the world have the same legal drinking age as Taiwan?
Oh, wow. I'll say 40%.
40%? Okay.
I'll say 65.
65%. Those are two good guesses. Before we get to that answer, though, we're going to talk about Asian flush. Does this ring a bell with either of you?
Well, you said we're not drinking beer, but do you have like some wine I could demonstrate it for you?
Okay, so basically it's when you drink and then you have kind of symptoms like you turn a little bit red, feel a little bit nauseous perhaps. Well, actually there's a study that found out that Taiwan has the highest percentage of people who experience the so-called Asian flush, because it's more predominant among Asians, but it's highest in Taiwan, higher than anywhere else in the world. 47% of people in Taiwan are afflicted by this. So we're going to show you a report that talks about the science behind it and why people who get Asian flush should be very careful. Let's have a look.
The Asian flush isn't just a physical response to drinking alcohol, it's an enzyme deficiency. People who lack the ALDH2 enzyme cannot metabolize alcohol. This results in flushed faces, respiratory problems, nausea, vomiting, and possibly diseases. Nearly half of the people in Taiwan have this deficiency.
Many Asians have this enzyme deficiency. They have a hard time metabolizing alcohol, so they often don't feel well after drinking.
People who lack the ALDH2 enzyme have a 50 times higher risk for mouth, throat, and esophageal cancers. A Stanford study found that Taiwan ranks top in the world for this enzyme deficiency. It advised these people to avoid alcohol altogether. According to the World Health Organization, in 2016, over 3 million people died from alcohol-related causes. 29% was related to drunk driving or violence. The rest were due to cancer and cardiovascular or other alcohol-induced diseases. Even low-level consumers of alcohol were found to have a 1.26 times higher chance of getting cancer than those who don't drink at all. So it is a good idea to think before you drink, especially if you get the Asian flush.
Okay, before the video, I asked you what percentage of all the countries in the world have the same legal drinking age as Taiwan, which is 18 years of age. Now, Natalie, you said
40%.
40%, and Leslie said 65%. Let's have a look at the answer.
61%.
Oh, wow, you were really close. Very good.
That's pretty good. You're very close at that, Leslie. Now, look at that map. You can see all the countries in blue have the same age, legal age for drinking as Taiwan. The maroon for the United States is at the high end, 21, but the countries in black have the highest legal drinking age, and that is you can't drink at all.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So we're going to move on now to a question about how much alcohol people here in Taiwan drink every year.
Oh, that's interesting too.
For this question, I want you to guess how many Olympic swimming pools full of alcohol people in Taiwan drink every year.
You mean collectively?
Yes, of course.
I mean, that's at least one.
Just to give you an idea, an Olympic
Oh
swimming
my
pool
goodness,
is
that's a lot.
50 meters long, it's 10 lanes wide, and it contains 2.5 million liters of water. So how many of those in alcohol does all of Taiwan drink a year? I know this is impossible, but
100,000.
100,000.
Oh, that's a lot of people walking around.
Okay.
Wild guess.
I'm doing a lot of math in my head here. You know what? I'm gonna say 150.
150. Okay. Two very, very different guesses. Let's have a look at the answer.
282.
Okay, you're closer.
282.
Oh, I got that.
That's okay. My math is not any better. It took me a while, and I actually had a calculator. Now, just to explain that, so 282 swimming pools is actually 700 million liters of alcohol.
Wow.
If you divide that by every man, woman, and child in Taiwan, you get about 30 liters per person. But of course,
You can't do children.
kids are not drinking, right?
Right.
So it's probably closer to above 40 liters per person per
wow.
year.
That's a lot.
It's about a little less than a liter a week. Does it sound a lot? A little?
I'm gonna plead the fifth. Plead the fifth.
Correct answer. All right. Now we have one more question for you today, and this has to do with gaoliang, which is one of the most popular strong alcohols in Taiwan. It's made by distilling fermented sorghum. Sorghum is a kind of grain. Now, usually this liquor has an alcohol by volume percentage of about 38 to 63%. Now, my question for you is, what is the highest percentage alcohol of any gaoliang in the world?
90%.
90%, okay.
85.
85%. All right, let's have a look at the answer.
Woo.
Oh, wow.
92%.
That's really high.
And this is made by Qilewei Distillery, which is located right here in Taiwan.
Wow. Well, that's very interesting, Andrew. And that is Taiwan by Number for the week.
And finally today, at the top of our show, we showed you a photo and asked if you knew where it was. Let's take one more look at that photo.
We told you that this is a train station cat at a popular scenic spot in Taiwan.
Where in Taiwan is this? Well, let's have a look at the answer. This is Yuan Zai, the tuxedo cat. She's become a star addition at the Fengqihu station in Alishan. She looks both ways before crossing the tracks. There she goes, straight into the train depot to check out the locomotives. Yuan Zai has become the honorary station manager at the Fengqihu station on the Alishan Forest Railway. Not only is she adorable, she also works hard. She does her rounds every day to make sure everything is okay. Fengqihu station manager Wu Han-en says, she behaves pretty much the same way I do. She's actually more serious about work than me because I have days off and she doesn't. She's here almost every day. Yuan Zai is actually a 5-year-old mama cat whose owner lives in the neighborhood. She's been coming to the station for the past couple of months and people love her. She's very friendly and has been attracting visitors to the station. People love to play with her too. This is little Jade from Kishi Station on Japan's Wakayama Electric Railway. She's passed away, but back in the day, she was a popular station attraction. Looks like Yuan Zai may follow in her footsteps.
I love that cat.
Oh, that's so cute.
Just
They
so
should give him a
much.
little hat, right? That'd be cute if he's like strolling around with a little hat.
I'm a dog person and I love that cat.
Just one word for that cat. Meow. Well, we hope you enjoyed this edition of Taiwan Insider. Be sure to connect with us on social media.
Yes, and leave a comment. We would love to hear from you. For Taiwan Insider, I am Natalie So.
I'm Leslie Liao.
And I'm Andrew Ryan. See you next week.